Delayed attribution, right? Something that happens later than it actually happens. What happens when somebody clicks today and then makes a sale in a week or in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks? And how do we count for it? Delayed attribution, the number one trick of ad agencies to prove that they're actually doing something by taking credit for other people's work. We're going to get down to why delayed attribution is used, why it's absolute nonsense, why you shouldn't rely on it, why everybody does, and how you should really be measuring success, and why attribution in the way that most people use it is a fundamentally flawed concept that really inhibits success. Hi, I'm Charlie. We're here today to cover what is delayed attribution. Let's go. So, delayed attribution. Let's start with defining it. Delayed attribution says somebody clicks today. They didn't buy today. Maybe it takes them 2 days. Maybe it takes them 2 weeks. But we're still going to get credit. Now, Google will give you delayed attribution going back a year. Some places will do it based off of just a view for a very long time. The idea is built around how much credit can we give to everything? And from this sale that occurred, where do we want to assign credit for that piece? And it ultimately comes down to proving out the flawed idea around multi-touch attribution and a whole bunch of other, honestly, just decade-old problems that people spent billions on and haven't been able to solve. So, you heard me make a few statements. First, why is delayed attribution something that people always use? Why is it so common? I'll tell you why. Because it makes things look nice. If I can say, look, I'm going to take credit. I spent $1 today. Every single person that saw that or maybe clicked on something, if they take an action for the next month, I'm going to take credit. That means that your reporting is going to look really good in isolation. So your Facebook media buyer or your agency is going to take a look and say, well, hey, we touched that person 5 days ago. We got them to click 3 weeks ago. We deserve credit for that sale. Now, they absolutely have a part in that journey, but are you able to really quantify that they're the reason that's responsible? What if somebody hit that Facebook ad and then went to your site and then Googled it again, landed on your site, and then signed up for an email address, email thing, got an email, and eventually got an SMS, and then bought? Well, according to delayed attribution, Facebook's getting credit, Google getting credit, email gets credit, SMS gets credit. According to delayed attribution, you made 4 sales because each channel has delayed attribution as well. Now, that's great, but then you go to your finance department and they say, no. You didn't make 4 sales. You made 1. Here it is. It happened on this day. So now, because you've set up delayed attribution, you have to then go back and say, well, these people got this much credit and these people get this much credit. And well, this sale happened because of X, Y, and Z. Now, the idea there ultimately funds 2 concepts. One, that people are extraordinarily myopic when they're trying to prove the value of their efforts. I spent this money on Facebook. This person did this thing. I get credit for taking that action because they're not exposed to everything else. So it's a lack of transparency. The other side of it is quite honestly a lack of either understanding or a lack of integrity. Now that's a big statement, but let me tell you this. Either you know that what works on Facebook is good and you're unaware that there are people spending money on other platforms and doing things in other ways that may or may not have an effect on what you're trying to do, or you do know, in which case you're knowingly, 1, taking credit for other people's work, 2, trying to own all of the credit for an action that occurs, and 3, creating dishonest reporting that ultimately confuses the client or the person that you're sending your reporting to, because delayed attribution doesn't match financials. And let me get to another point about delayed attribution. If I spent $100 today and in 3 weeks I get 2 sales, well, 3 weeks from now will be May, right, when I'm recording this. So when you get revenue in May and your reporting says, well, that actually happened in April. Well, it happened in April on one channel. It may have happened in April on another channel, but it happens in May for some other channels. You see how wildly complex this can get? And ultimately, your finance department doesn't give a shit about delayed attribution. Your credit card company doesn't give a shit about delayed attribution. Your bank doesn't give a shit about it. Your customer doesn't give a shit about it. Your fulfillment department also doesn't care because it's a dishonest result. The only thing that truly matters is how much did you spend today, how much did you make today, and what sales go out. Because that's how your finance department works. When you're a business owner, you have to manage your money and your time and ultimately be able to leverage what creates a desired effect. Now, let's get to the other fallacy around delayed attribution. Well, my customer doesn't buy on the first click. It takes a 3-week buying cycle. Awesome. Delayed attribution isn't taking credit for the first click. It's saying the last one. When was the last time somebody engaged on that platform? All these platforms, what they're looking at primarily is last click. So if somebody's last click for you on Facebook was 2 weeks ago or 5 days ago, do you think that they clicked on the ad on Facebook, kept that browser window open, never searched again, never went to the website, never, got an email, never clicked on anything else, and just kept it there? And 5 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, they made a purchase. And that you never, ever saw them again on the internet in any way. I can help you out here. That the answer to that question is no. That's just not the way it works. So if that's not the way it works, why is that the way that we're measuring success? Well, the very clear answer is because that's what makes me look good. That's what serves my ego. And that's what serves my number one interest of taking as much credit as possible for as much work from everybody. Because my number one objective as an ad agency or as a media buyer is to look as good as possible. Because it's about self-preservation, not about your success. If somebody's delivering you results that are based off of something that isn't delayed attribution, then they have transparency, honesty, integrity, and your success in mind. If somebody does rely on, well, we need the data to mature. Well, let me tell you what doesn't mature. People's behavior doesn't, it's not like, well, I clicked and then it took a month for that sale to show up, right? When you hit buy or when you click on a lead or something, that happens right then. So understand that the sale, the revenue, the lead, the whatever action you're trying to drive that occurs today is because of an action that took place today. That person clicked that button. That person went out and did the thing. So the idea that delayed attribution is a responsible, honest, and high confidence and high integrity way of presenting data is fundamentally bullshit. Last thing I want to get to. Data is only as actionable, is only as valuable as it is actionable. So I see a lot of people say, well, no. These chads on Twitter that are, have, they're complaining constantly and do all this other stuff. Well, they showed a big point of why delayed attribution is actionable information. Now, I've seen this argument more than a few times. Well, let me tell you, is it actionable to understand that something happened 3 weeks ago? What are you going to do today to improve your performance tomorrow on something that you can't see for a week? How actionable is that information? How dynamic, how able to move and take advantage of decision making, high confidence, database decision making are you going to be if the insight you garner is something that you should have done 10 days ago? That's what delayed attribution is showing you. So ultimately, what does this really get down to? What this really gets down to is, what's the truth? The truth is 1 day post-click. And that's going to anger a lot of people that rely on lack of integrity, dishonesty, or honestly, just maybe an ignorance of how digital advertising works. 1 day post-click, and I don't mean that as an attack. I mean ignorant as in, I'm just not aware, right? Like they maybe not were taught, or they were able to succeed high enough by making mistakes, but hard work got them there. And look, that is extraordinarily commendable. What I'm saying is, you might not even know that one day click is the best metric. And why is it the best metric? Because it's the shared source of truth across everything. Which gets me down to the last point. Delayed attribution only works if every channel has the same delayed attribution and you are willing to accept a lack of confidence in your data and an inability to take action. Now, I don't know very many successful companies that rely on inactionable data of low confidence to succeed. So my point to you is delayed attribution is absolute bullshit. This is my TED Talk. Anyway, hi, I'm Charlie. I hope this helps. Comment below if you have any questions. I'll be glad to answer them. And if you disagree, please challenge me. Show me where what I'm doing is wrong. Because if I need to learn, if I need to be uncomfortable so that I can grow, I welcome it. And I hope the same for you. Because ultimately, this is about every one of us getting better. See you next time.